All right, microphone check. Cool. Let's shift this guy over. I bumped my side cam here accidentally. Here we go. I see I don't have that up yet either. All right, there we go. Howdy, folks. My name's Dave. I'm a woodturner. And bear with me 1 second while I clean off that lens. I started turning as therapy for PTSD. Found out I had a knack for it and fell in love with it. Then I started teaching it, fell in love with that. So I started this channel to become a better teacher and a better demonstrator and always a better turner. It's the secret sauce is practice, practice, practice. And the more I work with other turners and sharing the skills that I've learned with them, the more it gets cemented in my own head. So it's a win-win. Anyway, thanks for joining me. It's Twitch Tuesday. I've been out of the pocket for a little while doing some art shows, but I'm back and I'm ready to start turning. So let's turn this camera down. That's about right. So I have this piece of timber came off a branch. I'm not sure what happened here. If there was a branch that was growing out, it doesn't look like it has that ring scar around it from losing a branch. I'm not sure what's happening there, but I do know the branch was curved. So I'm choosing to turn in this area because all of that compression wood is gonna show figure, or at least it should. So let's get this guy set up in here. I'm not close enough. And we'll go for as long as we can go. Now, I would like to mention that I will not be streaming tomorrow evening, but next week I'll be back to my full schedule, streaming Tuesday and Wednesday nights, 8 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. Let's see, I think I want to tilt it this way a little bit, maybe. I had a spot mark that I thought looked good here on this side, and I might move it around, but right now I'm assuming this is going to be the neck of the hollow form. I'm doing a hollow form out of this. I'm assuming this is going to be the neck of the hollow form, so I want to try to get this a little bit fairly well centered there. I'm not going to start off on the balance point with this guy today. So starting off, it's going to be a little bit, there's going to be a little bit of vibration. So that pith is kind of lined up, and that pith is kind of lined up. Let's see. Trying to get a good so I can come up a little bit this way. A good center to start with, because I want to start making my shape as soon as possible. So that's really close, but let's take it down there and see what that will do. So that's pretty real center. So I'm looking at the pith going right down to the center line, and it looks like it's centered up. Not that that really matters, but I kind of want both sides, and we'll see how that works. I can move the piece around a little bit as when I get down to it being running more true and a lot less vibration. Starting off between centers, I can move the piece around to get just the right access or setup on it. All right, so that should be all right for a little bit. Yep, it's gonna be a little bit of a bumpy ride. Not much though. Whenever I have to start out a piece out of balance, I'll start at the slowest speed I can. In this case, with this lathe, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 RPM. And once I start taking this longer arm of the branch out, things will start calming down. But I want to start at the lowest speed, and then I want to monitor vibration, slowly speed it up, and get to a point where I have the least amount of vibration at at a decent speed, what looks decent to me, but the least amount of vibration. And you'll find sometimes if you start off like that, you get the vibrations, slow the blade down a little bit or speed the lathe up a little bit and see what that does to the vibration. I don't have much right now. It's there. It's getting heavier. Now it's calming down again. I think that's a good clip right there. And what does that read? 800 RPM, I guess. So let's start making a shape. Or rather, oh, wrong tool, Dave. Let's start making it round. If you notice, I'm starting to get off the end of the tool rest. And I always tell people, go with, you typically want your tool rest as close to the work as possible. Because the further you hang out, the more vibration you induce into the tool itself, which makes the cutting action not so stellar. Let's see, that's that one. Oh, if I could just tilt it. I may have to tilt this. We'll see. The other pith is lining up right about there on this pith. So I may tilt a little bit to get the piths in the same plane, I guess would be the right word. And as I'm cutting through this, I'm going through the side of the tree. The fibers underneath are supported throughout the cut. So I'm going through the side of the tree, not into the end. And so it is a supported cut all the way through. At least till I get to one end or the other. So you can see I'm getting a little tear out here. There's a little bit of a split. This might get turned away, but in any case, once I get a little bit more meat off this thing, I'll start probably just go halfway at a time. That way, I'm going to have support for these fibers all the way this way, at least till somewhere in that area, and I start coming off. That's going to push those fibers off. So I want to go all the way through, not all the way through, but I can go most of the way through, then come at it from the other side, and these will all be supported that way. just like that. So it still looks fairly well centered there. Let's take a little more off. Let's take a look at what we got here. So I don't know if this other pith is going to come up any. I suspect it won't. So if I want to line them on the same plane, I'm going to have to tilt it this way a little bit. And let's see, it's the low one, so it'll have to actually go this way. I don't know, let's take a little more off. Let's see, I'm going to want to go this way. Now, this may look really wild, but once you get some really good solid instruction and practice under your belt, you'll learn that turning is mostly finesse. You don't have to force the tool into the wood, and if you're forcing the tool into the wood, you're fighting a fight that you don't need to fight. I guess is the best way to say that. As long as I've got the tool tucked into my body, and I have, I try to keep at least a 3-point contact, so it would be me, the tool rest, and then this other hand somewhere up here. It could be on the tool rest, it could be on the tool. It doesn't matter. Usually it's just the weight of my hand that's going on, or hanging by my thumb, the weight of my hand, just so I can push it. But wood turning is mostly finesse. So if I take it just between these two fingers here and these two fingers here, not tucked into my body, but I have the tool in the right position. And that's really stuff like this. That's really all it takes. Even right now, this hand is just resting there. I got my thumb on top. That's a habit that I started a long time ago. My flute, the best place to start at a cut is 45 degrees with my thumb on top. I've got the flute in the right position. My hand is relaxed, so it always wants to stay in that neutral position. So that flute's going to stay pretty much where I put it. So the hand is really just resting on here. I don't have much of a grip. I can turn this guy. I can adjust my grip as I need to, depending on how the wood is reacting. But it's mostly just adding weight to keep the tool on the rest. Let's see about getting this dude all the way around. And we'll take a look at, not quite there. Mostly there. Let's take that off. Try to remove, okay. Any bark that comes off easily, I take off before I put it on the lathe, because, I mean, if it comes off easily, it's going to come off flying when it's on the lathe. And rather that didn't happen. Well, now I need to look at this and see, do I want to switch this around? All right, first of all, let's mark these two. So now I would have to bring this one up this way, so back that off a little bit. So I'm going to bring it up about 1/8 of an inch there, and about 1/8 of an inch here. See how close that gets. Well, I need to go up just a tad bit more to catch that bottom line. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this dude around after I get the shape and then get the tenon cut and use this as the top. Get off my center just a little bit. Okay. Let's see where we are now. Getting closer. It's centered. It's centered. Okay. I think that did it. Yep, sure did. All right, so now these two pits are on the same plane. So we'll true it up some more after I make sure that it's secure. And let's talk about this subject a little bit. As you can see, I'm going to wind up taking away more and more of the wood. But the idea that I start from is getting like the best possible piece I can out of a piece of wood. So I enjoy starting between centers. I can move things around any direction I want, pretty much. So I'll wind up with a smaller piece, but that's okay. I want the best possible piece, best looking piece. Thinking about aesthetics. Since I only have the two pigs to deal with, instead of like a pine where that might have a whole bunch of them around the rim or around the outside, and Okay, now I can open this. Work your way around it. So cool. I had a pretty fun time at the Suttons Bay Art Fair. Got to meet some pretty cool people, and I had, yeah, I don't remember her name now. For it, it's on Instagram though. I could look at it really quick. You know what? I will. I'll do that. I'd like to give her a shout out because she posted. She purchased some Spalta maple candlesticks from me at the art show, and then immediately posted them. Well, not immediately, but posted them on Instagram today, uh, which was pretty cool. Miss Lizzie Bennett. Miss Lizzie Bennett. So um, I invite you to check out her Instagram. And thank you, Lizzie Bennett. I appreciate the support. Okay. Well, that was neat. Earlier today, I woke up and had that notification that she had posted or mentioned me in a comment. All right, let's check it out. Turns out she was the one that bought those candlesticks. I thought that was really cool. All right, so now I need to start thinking about a 10. I think I'll probably do if I can get it round enough. Yeah. So I'm dealing with, you can already see some of the figure coming out in this. And some of the wood is a little bit farther gone, but it's not the big chunky spalty stuff. So we'll see once we get below the surface, the outer surface of the tree. Ooh, let's take that off. Outer surface of the tree, what the rest of the wood looks like. And let's check this again just for fun. There's that guy. Which then hits that guy. Yep, nailed it. So that'll work. I think keep working on. Yeah, that should fit the chuck. Keep working on the outside shape. So yeah, getting below the surface is actually pretty good solid wood. So just got this one split here, but I don't think with that, especially since it's running this way, I don't think I'll have very much trouble with it. From a hollowing standpoint, oh, and I need to make a decision. Do I want voids in this thing? Let's get that off there. because right now, oh, that was a little branchlet growing out. Right now I got potential for pretty good voids, but I don't think I want the neck of the piece to be continuous, so we're not going to use that. I'll go down a little bit more. Nope, still not there. I think that's a good wide enough hole. I think if I get down, yeah. Oh, well, that doesn't make any sense. I think my T-rest might be a little high. Nope, it's not. Alright. So that's all continuous wood. That's where I'll have the neck. Now we'll work on the shape, man. Well, always working on the shape. This may preclude any idea of any voids, which is alright. There's not going to be one there. That'll be a natural edge. It's not deep enough. But one of the things to consider when you're looking at timber, what you're going to do with it, design considerations. match that shoulder with the rest of the piece. Let's see here. That's gonna have to tuck in. Just a little bit. Somewhere in there. So the piece I'm working with is mostly dry. I think it might still have some moisture left, higher than like, I don't know, 18% or 12% or whatever, but it's not completely seasoned, but it is close. So I might get some movement out of this guy. All right, let's take a look at this. Okay, maybe a little work. Over here. Stay north of it. Still doesn't look right. Stay north of the on this side of the pith anyway, because then I'm cutting down in through the other side, so I want to come that way when I'm scraping butt. Just a bit more here. Get a little more spherical up there. There we go. Since this is a scrape, it's a very safe cut to make without a handle. Can't get a catch. I have tried and never been able to, so don't run out there and try to get a catch. You're going to have a really hard trying to do it. Don't do it just to try to prove me wrong. It's a very, very safe cut. Same thing with the shear scrape. I'll be working on, as I'm either a scrape or a shear scrape, I'm always working on the bottom wing, not the top wing. But even if the top wing makes contact, all it's going to do is push me away. Cannot get a catch. What I want to do is I want to have the flute almost all the way closed, and I'll have a little gap between where the wing is and the surface that I'm turning, so I can look down into that gap and see where I'm making contact here. Now you can see it with where the shavings and stuff is coming over. That's where I'm making contact. I want it a little bit more towards the nose. That's looking pretty nice. So it definitely had started spalting. That's what all these blotchy spots are. That's how spalting usually starts. You'll see discolorations in the grain, and sometimes the grain, like right here, the grain's getting washed out. I don't know if this will help or not. Sorry, one moment. Adjust the fan position because it's blowing off my dust cover for the laptop here. But let's hit that cam. That's looking pretty good. So let's go to shear scraping. So again, I've got that little gap. My handle's down low. I'm bringing shavings. Let's get it in the right spot. And it is right there. And I'm bringing the shavings out very, very close to the nose. Where that little line is right there is where the shavings are coming off. It's leaving some dust, but that's where the shavings are coming off and then leaving that track on the other side. So I want to have it as close to the wing there, or the nose of the tool as I can get. And again, a shear scrape is another very safe cut. One of two really that you cannot get a catch on. Even if the top wing touches, it's just going to push the tool away. So I typically, and I carry a spare when I'm doing demos and stuff. I'll carry spare. I even when these get too short to sharpen in the grinder with the jig, then what I will do, and that's usually it's about 3/4 of an inch long is all that's left. And so what I do is I'll just leave it unhandled, and I'll work the edges on it with a diamond card until it's completely gone. But I'll leave it unhandled so I can use that without having to unhandle any of my other gouges. Not that that's a big deal either, but I want to use that tool as much as I possibly can. It's very spendy, and even though I may not be able to sharpen it in the grinder on the jig, that's all right. That's a really nice surface. I'm going to sand that. And we'll go from there. So I don't think I need power for that. Let's see, I need to grab a mask. Power. I don't need air for that. Air power. Although I do have my compressor up and running. Okay. So centered. I'm really not pushing that hard into the timber with the abrasive, letting the lathe spin everything. I don't need to push really hard into the wood. I don't want to heat it up any more than I have to. Sanding is going to impart heat to the piece. I don't want to heat it up any more than I have to. And the harder I push, the more possibility I have of leaving behind tool marks from the abrasive itself. And those can be hard to chase. All right, let's see. I'm going to move on to 220 once I find it. There it is. And then I'll hit it with the spin doctor over here. So that maple's pretty hard. And that looks like it's got all the tool marks. So you can see here, I wonder if you can see that in the overhead. I don't know. Oh, hold on one second. And take off the mask. I do want to just loosen that, so I want to make sure it's secure again. Yeah, there we go. Do want to get rid of that, so take my parting tool in there, and it won't part it all the way through. Instead, I will cut the 10 in 3. This one probably won't be in the way of the Vic Mark chuck, the opening at the back of it, but it's going to have to come off eventually, so it might as well come off now. Oops. Okay, that's free. And that's free. It's another habit that I usually stick to. I won't say that. So I don't tear out the fibers in the end of whatever it is I'm turning. And bring up the mallet. Put it away too soon, I'm sure. Oh, no. Don't need the mallet for this side. I'm going to lose that. I was hoping I had the parts, the quill and the the screw by now. It should have shipped already, but I don't guess that it did. So I'm still working with a quill that won't extend. more than about 1.5 inches. And then, well, why you are not in here? Got this one, but that's not the one I'm looking for. I wonder if it fell off the lathe into the shavings below. I guess I'll have to look for it. Oh, nope, there it is, right there. Well, it wasn't in the shavings on the ground anyway. Okay. Bull gouge down. Let's see how. Too high. I think that still might be too high, but I also see that I need to move my tool rest or my tailstock back through. Let's go not that far and see what that does. Well, I guess I took it down too low. I need to be right on center for this. Goodness. Just a shade high. Or shade low. Tools a shade high. There we go. Well, I'm going to say that the moisture content of this dude is pretty low. This is hardwood. Let's get this straight. Woo, forgot that gets warm. Let's see, that's deep enough. I'm gonna grab my bottle, my squirt bottle. So I can keep cooling that tool down. Bummer. Just starting to notice, man, the days are getting shorter. In many places in the world, and but not this far north. I guess before, as far as latitude. So the daylight changes are pretty marked. It's like I think lost about an hour since summer solstice of daylight. Okay. So I'm not terribly concerned. I guess I should bring this up. This crack here, I'm not terribly concerned. I have some concern hollowing with it, but because it's not in line with the ways, in other words, in the spindle orientation, there's a whole lot less chance of catching that tool on the inside because the crack is actually perpendicular to the cutting action. Excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. Had to sneeze. That's a mighty hard wood. What did I do with that guy? There it is. Whoops. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. Oh, the fan is causing the stand to vibrate, so my drink fell off. All right, let's hose this dude down again. And I think I'm going to have to. Ooh, wow. Yep, that's hot. So that is some pretty well seasoned wood, is what I'm going to say. I don't think there's any water left in that. That got the tool to smoking. Or steaming, rather. it's hot. You see too the wood. Yeah, I think you can see it in the camera. The wood's getting a little scorched on the rim where the steel is riding. That is normal. Yep, I'm gonna have to redress the edge. So we'll do that now. And I am actually gonna grab a glass, or a cup rather. Because I think being able to dip the tool will cool it off quicker. Try to get my fan set up right here. It's probably not the best place for that cup. There we go. Okay, let's get this rocking and rolling. This would be a great time to switch to like my helmet cam or whatever, but don't have one of those yet. Working on it. And I do want to say thank you to everyone that follows this broadcast. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. Participating or lurking and still viewing the channel, and I appreciate it. Just about there. I don't think that I'm different than a whole lot of other wood turners. I'm kind of anal on my grinds, but I know how I want it to cut and how I expect it to cut based on these grinds that I've been using for a while. Nothing fancy. 50-degree grind for my spindle gouge. 60-degree grind for my bull gouge. And then, in the ballpark of 25 degrees for my skew. I think that looks pretty good. Let's double check now that I don't have any humps on my wings. For my wings on my ball gouge and spindle gouge, I always work to keep them straight. There we go. I think that'll do. Anyway, I guess part of the reason I brought that up was that if you choose to support this channel by helping to purchase equipment, I greatly appreciate that as well. Donations are happily accepted, gratefully. Thank you very much. Subscriptions, of course, are very much it's very cool that you're willing to do that. Thank you. Alright, I need to get rid of the spray bottle since I'm not using it anymore. You can set it right there. Drink a little tea. Try Ray has joined. Very cool. How you doing, Try Ray? Joined a little while ago. I was just checking it out just now. I could go a little. Probably should go a little bit over how this works. This is we call it back hollowing here in the States. Other places call it top cutting. At least in France they do. I think Australia uses the term back hauling. And the reason it's called that is that I'm not making the traditional cut of going along the side or the, going along the side here of the wall. I'm actually going up this side and cutting on the top, not the bottom. And I'm cutting with the top wing and the top surface still at 45 degrees to the surface. And then the tool is moving more or less diagonally, although the handle has to rotate to keep the flute in the right position. It looks like the handle is making an arc, but really it's more straight. And the tool is pretty much moving in a straight line this way. It's going up and over and down. And then right to the center. So up, over, down, and it looks like a spiral shape, but it's a long diagonal. Let's see, I need to get more up there. Woo, even though it's hot. Okay. Need to keep a tool rest as close as I can without touching that surface so that I'm not burnishing it, because the tool rest is one of the two fulcrums that I'm using. Tool rest, and then the side of the opening is the other fulcrum that allows me to get that hold, the proper proper hold, proper face of the tool going in the right direction. sure I'm going to have to put a new redress edge on this pretty quick. It's a lot harder than I expected, but it is also compression wood, because and it doesn't look like a branch grew out that side. Well, I don't know, maybe there's that looks like that might be a pith. So there was a branch tried to grow that way and then disappeared. That's why the collar, the normal collar you see where branches has disappeared, that collar is how the tree closes up the wound. If a branch gets broken off or is torn off, you'll see that raised collar, and then everything, the bark and everything will grow over that. On this, because this was perpendicular to the rest of the wood, I mean let's see. If we look at here, it's actually running perpendicular with the side of the tree. So there was some kind of branch that was trying to grow, and then it didn't quite make it, and then it kind of healed over. So that's why I didn't see the collar, but that was actually a branch, it turns out. All right, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna hit that edge again. Got to keep tools sharp. A lot less hassle. Oh, got just a tiny hump in that. There we go. That looks straight. It's almost there. All right, that should do, I think. One last look. Yeah. Well, that's not going to do, is it? Thought I had it, folks. Sorry, man, it's taking me a little bit. Actually, I'm pretty anal about the shape of the tool I'm looking for. And that edge got worn down pretty good. And I am a little high right there. That's straight. That's straight. And the flute looks pretty good. Okay. So when I get back to the camera, I'll show you what I'm talking about. we talk about this often because I think it's important. When you are grinding a tool, depending on the size of the tool, you really want the nose of the tool to meet right in the center of the flute, and you want it to be about as wide as the bottom of that flute is. You don't want a a really, really fine point. Even on the bowl gouge, same thing. Just take it out of the handle here. The flute, the point is right in the center of the flute, and that. Oh, I'm not even on camera. Sorry about that. There we go. So the point is right in the center of the flute there, and that nose is just as wide as that bottom of that flute is. So I don't have a super fine point. That'll get really, really grabby on you. Really, really aggressive. If you open that up a little bit to where it's the size of the flute, the bottom of the flute, that nose, it'll be a lot more forgiving tool. Not so jittery in turning. I do see that there are quite a few wood turners out there that turn with tools like that, and it's kind of dangerous. It's a lot easier to get a catch that with a tool like that also, because everything is so much closer together. There's a difference between this and that. That's a lot wider, and so the wings are closer together. When you're getting down into smaller areas, the wings are a lot closer together on something that has more of a point. You really don't want a point. Unless that's, I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, that's my opinion. There might be a specific purpose to have a tool ground like that, but it really is. I try to shy people away from that because it's a little bit harder to handle a tool like that and not get catches. You know what? It's moved on me. I'll be dogged. So it has moved a little bit. Let's make sure that it is actually secure. All right. So there was a little bit of moisture content in there still. I'm gonna open that up a little bit more off of that edge so I can get a little bit closer to that wall. Check that wall thickness. Oh, still got quite a bit to go actually. All right. We're getting there. All right. There I'm not cutting, I'm just doing what you would call a regular hollowing cut with a spindle gouge in towards the side. Yeah, I'm getting water vapor down there. You can feel it on my fingers. Okay, so it wasn't totally dry. Still hard as dickens though. Back to top cutting. Check that out because I'm getting pretty close. I still got a 3/8 of an inch in there, I guess. Another reason I like using a spindle, well, I mean, I've tried using a bowl gouge for this. I've tried different grinds too, and 50 degrees seems to be the sweet spot, if you will. And 40 degrees is too aggressive. 60 degrees wouldn't allow me to get to the outer edges there on the shoulder because I couldn't get the handle around enough. And did I leave myself? I did. I left myself a flashlight out here. All right. Oh, that's looking nice. All right, so I'm as deep as I need to go. I think I just bumped the camera. I sure did. Let's try to get that back in line here. Sorry for the jittery camera action. Get this guy back in the center of that. Oh, jeez. All right. And then level, I hope. Hit that with my big fat head. Why is that spinning? It should not be spinning. All right. Oh, goodness. Okay, so that's close to center. Just need to shift this way. Wait for the lag. There it is. And why is it? Oh, wrong way. There we go. That's what happens when your big fat head runs into the camera. There we go. That should be okay. So, yep, that's as far as deep as I want to go there. Just need to work on this shoulder, and that'll be pretty groovy. Going for that little nipple in the bottom. Let's see, I guess I'll need to open this up some more. Should be okay. So that I don't know, scratch box sound you hear, it is because I'm going right across that. Boy, that's really feel this, the steam is just dampening my finger. Really close to the final thickness here. Okay, I'm liking that. That's cleaned up. Okay. I was going to mention this earlier. One of the main reasons, besides the fact that a bowl gouge just 60 degree, well, I've tried a bowl gouge, and the spindle gouge just works a lot better for this. Now, and that's just specifically for hollowing. If you're doing a bowl gouge works fine doing a top cut or back hollowing move with it. People, I myself use it all the time. It's a little different than hollowing, because you got, the whole wide face is open and you're not undercutting anything. With a spindle gouge, though, you can get there, and the flute, the shape of it, most of the time automatically ejects what you're cutting out. So it's really nice in that aspect too. That's almost there. Okay, that's good. So now I just have a little bit to do right there. Felt a little bump, but I got that taken care of. we go. Now we're talking. Alright. So just got to worry about the little nipple in the bottom. What do I do with the flashlight? There it is. Just need to clean that up. And I think what I'm going to do with that guy, after we blow this out, and throw my flashlight off the lathe. Okay. While I'm at it, why don't I throw the flashlight off the lathe? Alright, so let's cool that tool down some. It's not as hot since I'm not really rubbing the side here. And I'm going to grab this guy. Alright, flashy light thingy, there you are. And I've got my handle up, and that's the center. Okay, good. Okay. I think that did it. Almost. I think I'm gonna need a little bit smaller tip here just to get that little nub. Cut it. All right. Oh, it's not long enough. That would explain that. I wasn't close enough to get good contact. I've got just a little bit of space I can monkey around with there. And then I'll just peel off what's left with the burr on this tool. There we go. I think it's time to buy a new one of these to get down in there. Yep, I got it. Alright, cool. And the inside surface looks very clean. Aha! So now that I look right down into the bottom of this, there was a branch growing out that way. That probably had two branches growing out this way, but right in the bottom of that. Well, shoot. You know, that might have been. I don't know. Let's finish this off. I just need to flip around. Let me do a little something with the rim here, some abrasive. We'll flip around and see how it looks. 220. Try to get a better view than looking down into the tunnel view to see. Try to determine how that branch is growing. It looked like it might have been. At some point. Some kind of branch growth there. So it hasn't moved much, but it's moved a little bit that there's a little bit of vibration on it. So that looks. Come on. That's better. So I have slowed the lathe down back to the slowest speed just so I can sand at a slower pace. Do this toast. And we'll do one more pass with, or another pass, maybe not just one more. That kid's joked about a lot in the woodturning world. Just one more cut, one more pass. It usually winds up being more than one. So I do my best not to say, oh, one more cut. Say another cut, and we'll go from there. So just kind of sanding with the grain where it has support. Getting rid of just little minor sanding marks. Guess I don't need to stress about that side so much because I'll be flipping this off, flipping it around, and finishing off the foot of it. Okay, so that means I'm not going to need the mask, yay. So anyway, basically, I mean, I found a few issues, like things you really have to pay attention to when you're hollowing this way. Let's get that measurement there. So that's where my bottom is. Let's do that one more time. Whoops. In fact, let's use the third hand here. One of the issues, though, being that if there's cracks in it, so that's it right there. If you're top cutting, back hollowing, you don't want the cracks running this way because no matter what you do, inevitably you get to a point where the tip of that tool, as you're making that traverse, is going to get caught in it, and that's a catch. So if there is a crack in it, it has to be this way, and then you're limited by how long your tool actually is, to how big of how deep of a hollow form you can actually create. Whereas with hollowing tools and hollowing bores, boring bores, that kind of thing, you've got quite a bit more reach. So I really only do this with the smaller pieces. That's not what I wanted. What I wanted was well, let's see. How about that right there? So any tool marks from the chuck will look like a pattern, and that's the hope anyway. But in this case, I really don't have it jammed on there anyhow. Yeah, that's moved. That's certainly moved. All right, let's drop the tool rest. Grab my screw. Set myself up for a center point with my live center. Because I'm going to want support for this. I'm working with a thin-walled vessel. I wonder if that will... That's more true. Do that again. All right, let's see. I'll need this guy. moving. It's a lot closer. Let's see how close I can actually get it. There we go. Let's try that. I'll take that.
Cheap viewers on streamgo.com. Removable space at 4ML75C8U.
Thank you, Spambot. I appreciate that. But I won't be following you around for that. Thank you very much. Alright, so let's reset this guy. Alright, so at least that's a really nice place to start from to finish off the outside shape of this guy. Not too high, it might be. Woo! Okay, so that chipped out. So now we can see that where that branch, so there was a branch there and it healed over, but it never made a collar. So I'm thinking it's because it was running more or less perpendicular to the tree, because the tree was growing this way. And so is that branch was right up against, at least in that spot, right up against the tree there. Interesting. All right, so I can see that that line is the inside bottom. I'm working on following that curve that's already established. And I'll have to blend this in. Because it's going to be a little bit off because it's moved some, so I'll just have to blend that in, but that won't be a big deal with the sander. Alright, let's cut that off. Ooh, boy, yeah, that's really hard wood where that old dead branch was at. Just making sure we're secure. And now it's time for the sanding action to happen again. So I'm going to blend that in. I'm going to hit it with 180 first, then I'll go to hit with 220. There you are. Yeah, that blended in real nice. So the better you get with your tool control, the less sanding you have to do. And I think that most of the sanding you don't wind up doing. Does not take very long at all. Let's just take a look here. So that's where the branch was going this way. It's almost like a crotch piece, like it was two that went this way, and that's possible. And you can see all the figure that's in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is buff this dude. I want to see what that looks like. So I'm going to buff it next, and I think it'll really bring that out. That's the wrong direction. Just cleaning up a few kind of sanding lines. Hopefully not sanding, curl or a feature that I think is a line. That's happened to me a couple times. Sometimes it's hard to tell that a curl, some chatoying, some there, or the big, it may look like a tool mark sometimes. And I've sanded spots like, man, that spot's not going away. What's the deal? To find out that it's a feature in the wood. It's not gonna go away. Okay. So I'm going to leave the mask on because I'm going to be buffing. Yeah, that's a nice little hollow form, lightweight. Even wall thickness pretty much all the way through. There's just a little bit of a transition issue right up in here, but it's very minor. But in general, other than that, the wall thickness is even all the way throughout. So that's a big bonus and what I'm shooting for. Alright, so I need to grab this guy and this guy. I don't get paid to say this, at least yet, unless the Beal Company would really like to support this channel. But this is a Beal buffing system. This is the one I use. I don't get paid to say that. But that's pretty much all the tools right now until I secure some sponsors, which I'm working on. The tools I mentioned are just the tools I use. I'm not trying to sell anything. I do have preferences on tools that I use, but I've used a bunch of different kinds. Let's speed this dude up. In my quest to become the best turner I can be, and I feel like if I'm going to teach it, I should at least know how to use the tools that people are using. So even though I did pick up a bias against scrapers from my mentors, I find that they are very, very good at what they do. A lot of newer turners, that's how they start out, is with scrapers. Scrapers are a preferred tuning tool for a lot of people in the world. Nothing wrong with that. As long as you follow the rules, it's no different. There's rules for the scrapers, just like there's rules of all gouges, fender gouges, all that. You want your tool setting at center line. The handle has to be tipped up so that the burr of the tool is contacting at less than 90 degrees to the surface that it's scraping. But in general, that's pretty much it. Scrapers are an excellent tool to start with. Get you behind the lathe and learning how to turn. They're not my primary tool. I do use them, clearly. Not my primary tool. I mean, Nick Stewart Betty, that's what that's the focus of most of his stuff is scraping. Very, very valid way to work with the wood. Typically, I just lost that. Put this off and pick that up. Typically, the burr on a scraper doesn't care which direction the wood is coming across. Depends on how it's contacting wood, of course. A scraper will still catch in a crack like that. If it's facing the cutting edge is going into the crack, it will still have that same issue as any other tool. But in general, the scraper, especially negative rate, doesn't really care if the rest of the grain is running because it's such a sheer cut. It's not a heavy-handed cut. You're not with any of these cuts, really. You don't want to have a heavy hand with your cut. It's all finesse. No different on any of the tools. She'll pull off some nice shavings with a scraper. Okay, so now we're at least rough buffed it. Missed a spot. Just inspecting to make sure that I haven't missed anything. Now I'm going to go to the next, which I guess would be white diamond. I remember reading my history back when they taught these kind of things. I don't know if they do anymore. Probably not, would be my guess. Unless you're probably at the college level, because the education system has changed so much. One of the things that was very noted during the history of the Industrial Revolution was the fiber factories. The miners of asbestos, your lungs happily accept fibrous material, be that cotton, be that linen, be that any kind of cloth. It could be asbestos, which is a mineral, not a cloth. And so, in past history, a lot of people working during the early industrial revolution before OSHA and face masks and blah 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 blah, people were getting very sick and very ill working in those places because the fibers would collect in the lungs and, of course, block the airways. So when I'm buffing, I'm using linen cotton blend on the white diamond. That cotton is going to shred. The linen is going to shred, and it's going to turn into fine, tiny little fibers. And if I'm not wearing a face mask, I'm going to breathe those in. And because the human lungs, for some reason, readily accept fibrous material that's going to get implanted. So I highly recommend when you're buffing, woodturning, sanding, whatever, that you wear some kind of face mask, filter, or you will recreate what has been recreated in the past and cause yourself some harm. So always shoot on the side of safety. These wheels, this is a linen copper blend. The Rouge is linen, this is linen copper, and then the Carnauba wax, which I use occasionally, it's all cotton pad, all cotton. And as you can see, they fray, they're friable. In other words, they wear down. So it will happen, you will have those fibers in the air. So that's nice and cleaned up. And there we have a finished, essentially. I mean, I don't even think I need to put any finish on it. That's like beautiful. So you can see the wood, the curl in it in the different spots. There's some chatoyance in it in different spots there. I think that's actually a pretty nice little hollow form. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it after this, but I always like to practice. And as you look on the inside, assuming we can see that, I wonder if this would help. It's probably washing out the screen, but it's the inside's very, very clean. Very doable with the spindle gouge. If you, I enjoy teaching. I did fall in love with the whole thing, and so I'm more than happy to teach people this process that I developed. I do know that nobody else is doing this. at least nobody that's been, broadcasting or as far as I'm aware, I'm the only one that's doing this, hollowing with a spindle gouge using the top cutting method. It's really nice with well, I guess I can't say it's really nice with green wood, but it is. It's nice with green wood. Of course, turning green wood is always a little bit, I think, nicer than seasoned wood. This was a little tough to turn on the inside, but it's very clean in there and very, very passable. Neat little hollow form. I may gild it, but at least I got the piths on the same plane. And up on the top of the vessel rather than they would have been down here. And then, I would have had maybe part of this in the neck of the vessel. But I'm glad that I turned it around because this would have been problematic trying to get a good solid rim. So I got a good solid rim with the pith that I was going for that I could readily see. Now it's on display because I had just simply flipped the piece over. But that's interesting. Won't see that much, but that's kind of interesting a little bit there. So it does kind of look like the crotch, like two branches came out, but they were just growing straight along the tree, and then they got grown over. They died, got grown over, which is why I didn't see the collar. Yeah, that's neat. So let me put that aside. Sorry, I'm just admiring it because it looks really pretty. Let me set it aside. Oh, there is no light on. It is dark outside for some reason. The sun must have gone down, I guess. Okay. So that was that. That was fun. What's next? Well, it turns out I have another one. And this definitely looks like it had more than one branch growing out of this nodule. But I'm going to start turning this and giving it a shape and see how that all pans out. Because this is another piece of that really. There's going to be figure right in there, and all that compression wood. Is that a moth? I guess that was a moth. So there's going to be figure down there that it's probably going to disappear. That's compression wood. Now all this, all along the bottom here, you can see the waviness. This is all compression wood where the tree grew itself together, is holding itself up in whichever direction it was. I don't know. This was a branch, I'm pretty sure, anyway. But it started curving upward. Just needed to support these branches. Anyway, that's pretty much what curl is. It's a compression of the wood due to its growth process that causes those ripples. It's pretty neat stuff. As far as I understand, anyway. Is that sharp? You are not sharp. So let's see if there's any. Oh, look at that. Easily taken off. So we'll take it off now so it doesn't fly at me at 60 miles an hour. It came off real easy. So again, as a reminder, I will not be broadcasting tomorrow evening, Wednesday night. Got some other work to do. But I will be back to my regular schedule finally next week, and we'll be streaming Tuesday and Wednesday evening at my regular scheduled times. Have been away for the last almost 2 weeks anyway. 2 weeks ago, I caught Tuesday, I think. Yeah, I did, and then had to skip out on Wednesday because I was getting ready for that show that weekend. Setup was Friday. Had to get everything together, and then this last week, moving from one show to another, and then having to change out inventory and all that. So,
Howdy y'all.
hey man, how's it going? How is it up there in Canada, eh? Whole bunch of smoke coming down this way for some reason. Y'all are smoking too much or something.
Values said, nice this week here.
Oh, nice. Very cool. All right, so we got to figure this dude out. I just thought these might make really neat hollow forms. But I like working with crotchwood. I work with that a lot.
Thankfully, the fires and smoke have missed us so far.
Oh, that's nice. Wish I could say the same. We haven't got the fires, thankfully, but definitely the smoke. All right, so this is going to be a little bit. Let's see what I can do here. So that looks about centered there. That does not look centered. Let's try that. Oh no, I lost my center on the back side. Okay, so that looks centered. And we'll go with that. Let's see how that pans out. Yeah, that's about right. It's not centered here though. So we'll move it this way. Get in the center there. Still centered this way, I think. It's really close. And I think I'm going to shift just a bit this way. If I can get my hand to stop shaking, that would be lovely. Yeah, that looks all right. So have you made it to the local club and get any turning under your belt lately yet? There, Habitus. You've been threatening to do it for a while. Just curious. I think turning is a kick in the pants, man.
Values said, no, too busy at work.
Those guys, this guy's got to quit working you to the bone, man.
Values said, I did stop by there the other day.
So what is your current profession, sir? Woo, man. So I'm going to be a little bit, this is one reason I don't know. Reeves drives are a whole nother beast to VFDs. But I did learn that it's because right now it's set to 2,000 RPM, and I really don't want it that high since I'm starting off with a piece that's going to be out of balance. But if I rotate this and twist the knob, I can change the speed on the Reeves drive without having to turn it on. So that's kind of a neat little feature, but okay, how are we doing there? All right. So we're down to about 400 RPM. We're going to see where we get. Yeah, it's a shame. All these wrinkles and stuff, I'm going to lose all that. That's going to be figure.
Prototype work.
Oh, no kidding.
Trying to build some oil and gas tools.
Right on, man. I used to be in oil and gas, and I was instrumentation tech and electrical tech. I got involved with glass plants and.
Trying to get someone to buy it.
Oh, okay, okay, very cool. All right, so let's speed this up and see if I can how that affects the vibration.
So, downhole ultrasound time.
So that's not bad vibration. I'm sitting at about 800 RPM again. I think I'm going to go with that. The vibration isn't that bad, and once it gets back into being around, or once it gets to being around, that should take away a lot of that vibration. Downhole ultrasound machine. Oh, no kidding. Okay. I used to work for Baker Petrolite, and they made a lot of oil field chemicals. One of them was a chemical that added to the petroleum. It would help create laminar flow in the pipelines, so there wasn't as much turbulence. But a lot of downhole chemicals too. That is a past life. I still have all my benchtop equipment that I used to have, scope and signal generators and all that. I still do occasionally repair electronics equipment for people. I would have to say that that is a pretty brainy profession, man. All right. So got one kind of a split there that, wow, that pitch is definitely lower than that one, so that's kind of a drag, but I won't be able to balance them, so what? It's fun when I can. Nice smooth cuts, going only as fast as the tool can cut. Cutting a lot of air. I definitely want to go at the speed the tool can handle, so I don't bounce off the wood. Yeah, there was I don't know, I'm sure it's probably still the same thing. I don't work for oil field companies anymore, but let's see, how am I going to do this? Go this way. That used to be what it was, man, if you wanted to have a good paying job, oil and gas, where it was at. Nasty, dangerous, but paid well. Well, at least in the career I had. U.S. is more dangerous oil and gas? Probably so. Probably so. It wouldn't surprise me. I've never had to do the job of being a roustabout, and I'm sure that's really freaking dangerous. Actually, I know it is, but get rid of this loose bark that's just going to fly off any second. So it doesn't fly off and hit me. I don't consider that a good time. Which is probably a failing on my part in some way or another, but I just don't find it to be a good time. Yeah, there could be more regulations to protect the people who work in oil and gas, I would think. But that costs money and takes money away from the bottom line. We can't have that. That is some pretty wood, man. All kinds of figure up in there. Oh, man, all kinds of curl. I may wind up turning this one upside down, too. We'll see.
Yeah, money and safety is slower.
Yeah, that is true. Alright, time to change out tool steel. This one is dull. Cuts are dragons. Time to change up. Nice wood. What type? This is maple. And this particular bit, I had two. The second one, or the first one, was a little bit smaller example. I mean, this little curve here, the piece had grown in a curve, so there's all kinds of wrinkles, which is compression wood, which is what causes the raise and the chatoyance and the curl in timber, is that it's a compression wood, and that changes the grain and catches the light in such a way that that we call it curl. This piece had some, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 branches grown out of a clump here on the bottom side of a curve on a, what was this, a 6-inch branch, I guess? Yeah, 6 inches or so. But this is maple. It's pretty wood. It's cutting really nice. It's fairly well seasoned. It's not completely dry. The last piece I thought was completely dry, and when I was hauling it out, I could feel the steam and moisture on my fingers inside the wood, so it wasn't quite there. So there'll probably be some movement. That's what I want to hear. Oh, just a beautiful cut. Oh yeah. Sharp tools are awesome. Sharp tools are safer. They are awesome. Let's see, I could leave that. I'm going to take another pass here and see. How much of this gets cut away? Ooh, I think I'll leave that. If I can, leave some of that. That means that I'll keep all of this. If that's going to be my widest diameter, I'll keep all of this. So I was going to make this the neck like the last one, but I'm going to flip it around like I did the last one. The neck will be up here so I can get all of that higher up on the piece. People can see it rather than down on the bottom where it would be if the neck of the holoform was here. This would be further down on the bottom and less easy to see. So design considerations, always, stop and pause and taking a look at the wood, seeing what's showing up, what isn't showing up, if that's a consideration, like voids and cracks. I'm always looking for those not to show up. Got a bark inclusion there. Yeah, got a little bit of the spalting started on this one too, so that's the discoloration. So it caught it at the right time, but again, this is early in a spalting process where it just looks kind of splotchy and the color washes out a little bit in the grain. So this is early in the spalting process. There's no black lines. That's much later.
ESWK said, Evening Dave, Cherry Bell Design said, hello.
Howdy.
Recommended ISWK.
Well, thank you very much.
Cherry Bell Design said, Cherry Chat dropping in. Cherries.
Oh, thanks for stopping by, folks. So, Cherry Chat, are you in Michigan? Because I don't know, Traverse City is the cherry capital, I guess. I don't know if it's it's a cherry capital, but
howdy Raiders.
Yeah, howdy. Thanks for stopping by. Very cool. You are. Abaddis is also in Canada, Calgary, if I remember correctly, at least in the Calgary area. Where in Canada are you, sir, or ma'am, as the case may be? That's pretty cool, man.
That is, say, after I believe design, what part of the Canada?
Same question.
Say, I am planning to move to Calgary very soon.
In BC, okay.
Say, I'm in BC right now.
Very cool. So, Cherry Bell Design. Okay, so I'm going to assume since it's
say, BC is pretty nice.
It is. At least where I've traveled to. Cherry Bell, since it's Belle, I'm going to assume that you are of the female persuasion, and but in any case, I'm curious what Cherry Bell Design actually makes.
Bell Design said, I am the lady kind.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for joining me. What do you do? What does Cherry Bell Design do? Oh, no kidding. That is so cool. That's so cool. Uh-oh, I lost the camera. How did I lose the camera? How did I lose the camera?
That is, say, cool.
Very cool. So do you just sheep's wool, alpaca? What kind of stuff do you spin out of? I'm asking. I'm kind of interested in it. I've gotten asked to
Cherry
make
Bell Design,
the spindles and stuff for spinners. Oh, okay. Very, very cool. Make some spindle work for some spinners
Cherry Bell
here in the area.
said, I can spin them all.
Nice. So I got to learn all the names of the tools, the hand spinning tools, all that stuff. Looks like I will be turning some in the future. Let's see, I want to go this way.
If you're in Calgary area, you'll know I took my master's up in Olds College.
What about spinning human hair? Just asking for. I love it, man. I love it. That's not too far off, man. I understand.
Cherry Bell Design said, human hair is brittle and wiry and wouldn't make good yarn.
Oh, okay.
Said, I was just talking to the boss about Olds and their agriculture and automated farming equipment courses. Cherry Bell Design said,
but I
tried.
Very, very cool. I understand Japanese people way back, I don't know,
Cherry Bell Design,
a long time ago, 13, 14, 1500s.
Received in Merck's hair SWK.
Used to make rope out of human hair. Strong and a little bit stretchy. I don't know how they wove it or what they did, but it just fascinates me, man. I think it's cool. Of course, then there's the Western equivalent of the hair shirt. That was a religious thing, I guess.
Human hair.
Okay, gotcha. Well, then maybe that's why they used it for that. It probably wasn't good for. I'm not a spinner, but it probably. It sounds like it probably wouldn't have been good for much else. And I wouldn't want to wear a shirt made out of hair. I think it would be scratchy and uncomfortable, and that's what the old I don't know, Christian monks and stuff used to do. Y'all are nuts.
Young, gross, and itchy.
I have lost a tool. There it is. And I have time to clean that off again. I lost a camera. Now I lost a tool. I got to go pick that up. Yeah, that helped. But I understand rope, or at least what I read anyway. I'm no expert, but what I read
said,
rope made out of human wares.
How do you know if it's from you or the shirt? Cherry Bell Design. I have to go do some after stream stuff. Glad to find y'all.
Yeah.
I'll come see you again.
Groovy, man. Hey, Lurkin is still supporting the channel. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm going to have to look up to see if you're on Instagram or Twitch. I'm assuming you're on Twitch anyway. Hey! Groovy, man. Good to see you online, dude. I'll be joining you in a couple of months. Hope you're having a good time, Joe. I know you got to be. Have you moved the coffee pot? I'm asking for a friend. I heard nasty rumors. I may have been one of the culprits. But using it, all right, gotcha. Oh man, I still remember when Heather came into the class. She just was beside herself and was adamant that we not touch the coffee pot. Like, all that did was give me incentive. I'm sorry. Because nobody else was using it. Nobody else was cleaning it. Nobody else was filling it. Give me grief about a piece of equipment that you're not even barely using. Okay.
Say, still the
Still
same.
the same. All right. Oh, well. They don't call us troublemakers for nothing, right? Ooh, this one might be a different shape, actually. I'm kind of digging. I mean, if I hollowed it out, if I left it like this, I mean, that would all be open. I don't know if I want to do that. I do like the shape that it's in right now, but I really just want to keep this. This is going to be the bottom area. Considerations. All right. Let's do a pass. This whoopsie daisy. We're not going to do that with a loose press now, are we? I don't know. I think if I can keep this, this will probably be a void, but I don't know that I want a void in this piece. Decisions. I need to lose some of this mass anyway if this is going to be the bottom, so it's not going to hurt anything if I shift it. And since I'm between centers, what a great time to do that. Well, I'm definitely glad you made it all right. It is quite a haul to get there. Hopefully you're enjoying the heck out of it. Because next time you will get no enjoyment. You'll be the head slave, which I wish I was, but instead I'm taking the class. So, but being a teaching assistant is a lot of fun, just a lot of work. Okay, that's gone. How are we doing here? 22:35, not too shabby. So I'm going to grab my center finder so I can get a better ballpark of where my center used to be. And then I'm going to shift it so I want to shift it the direction of where there might be a void so that there's more wood on that side and less wood on this side. And then when I taper that side down, this will, in theory anyway, I don't want to take too much off because of this. This looks cool. This looks cool. But I'm going to take this down a little bit more. I just don't want there to be a void in the bottom of it. Because nobody's going to see it. So, center punch. I want to capture the best features, the best piece I can get out of this piece of timber. That's always my goal, anyway, out of any piece of timber. Alright, gotta move this closer. I don't think my parts are coming from Canada. They're coming from, oh, well, they are coming from e-replacement parts. So it could be Canada, but they're Jet Tool parts, and I was hoping to have them by now. But then again, Jet Tools have had a really, really bad run of running out of stuff and not replacing it. Some of that was due to COVID, probably. I don't know what the situation is on, like, employees and whatnot, but oh, I think yes, I got it. All right. So I want to go this way. So I'm going to shift it. Oh, let's say maybe 3/16 of an inch. Get that dude secure in there again. Oh man, that's nice and secure. And then work on this curve again. Probably should have done that before I made the tenon, because now I'm going to make the tenon smaller, which means I'm going to have to get rid of the tenon. I didn't move it much. Well, let's see. Let's see. Nope, need to move it some more. That's a bummer. So I guess I need to go about a quarter of an inch. That's actually closer to, no, that's about a quarter of an inch. So the nice thing is I won't be cutting here because it's further away from the tool rest than this is, where I'll be cutting here. So I can save that, but I need to get down to this stuff. That's more like it. I'll accept that. That'll work. So I've still got a little bit of natural edge on the outside, and that won't be a void. I'll take it. Wrong tool. Cutting this way because the tree grew this way. So I'm cutting into the side of the tree rather than the end grain, which is what was happening this way. I was catching a lot of end grain, and this way I was catching none. Alright. Time to redress the tenon. That should be about the right size. right. More figures coming out in this wood. Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, now this is giving me other ideas on how I want to shape this thing, but I'm liking how it is so far. Only moving as fast as the tool can cut. Another thing sharp tools give you a benefit for, you can actually cut faster. Definitely cleaner. That's just pretty wood. Oh, I lost part of it, but I think that's still okay. I really wanted to keep that whole strip, but it is what it is. Get on time. Got about 15 minutes. Before the normal ending time. I really do like this Steve Center tool rest. I just gotta say, I'm a fan. Okay, so now, yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. This is going to be slightly tapered, but this is basically the shape I'm thinking is what's going to happen. I like it. So that means that I will need to bring out the hollowing, the boring bar for hollowing, because this is too deep for my spindle gouge off the rest to get to the bottom. I think. Maybe not. We'll check it first, and if it is, well, it is, and we'll bring out the hollowing system. So, let's see. I think I want a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more tape. Follow through is important on your cuts. I love sharp tools, man. So how is my taper here? Let's see. Let's take a straight edge and do that. That's not bad. We'll leave it there for now. We're just kind of still playing with the shape. I do want to explain this. It looks kind of funny. I'm scraping what would normally be backwards, but I'm not actually going backwards. The scraping action is catching the fibers of the wood as it comes across. I'm going for largest to smallest, but without support. I don't have any support for this stuff. The support for this cut is down here. So in order to catch that and get a clean cut, I've got to come at it from another angle. I can't do it from here because I can't get right into that corner. But if I go backwards with the scrape, that's essentially what I'm doing is I'm shear cutting all that off, and the support is there for the cut. This is a light touch. It's not a heavy can. I'm just knocking off all the high points to get a surface like this. Now remember, the tree grew this direction. So the pith is right here. That's one pith. There's another pith somewhere around here. There's a couple of them actually. But the tree grew this direction. So we're in spindle orientation, so to speak, I guess you could say, or rather bowl orientation, not spindle orientation. You can see this wraps around. So we're on the outside of the tree, cutting into the side of the tree rather than through the end grain, and so we can get a supported clean cut, even if we're scraping, if we follow where that support is at. If I was to go this way, which would be the best way to do it, of course, again, I can't get my tool right into that corner. I can this way by scraping, but I can't with a cut. This would be the best way to go because I'd be getting that support. But I'm literally shear cutting. So not lifting fibers. As the fibers come across, they're getting shear cut right off. So they're not lifting, and I'm not cutting against the grain. Okay, that looks pretty darn good. I think I am now going to go for a shear scrape on this part. And that I can get right up in the corner too. Again, it's another shear cut. I go back and forth with it because I'm not lifting the fibers. The fibers are all coming over regardless of which way the tool is going. They're coming over at a very, very sharp angle. So I can move back and forth as long as I maintain that shear angle. Again, a light cut. Swap over to a little bit sharper side. Here, I'm going to have to go backwards and shear scraping. But if I shear scrape this way, I'm going to start lifting fibers. Even though they're coming over shear angle, I'm moving up against this. So I have to shear scrape all this way to get a clean surface. But I wanted to just clean that up a little bit. Going in the wrong direction. So that when I did finish the shear cut, it was clean. Very clean surface. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to play around with design ideas on this dude. I do want to get a little bit better shear stroke. Again, it's a very, very light touch. I'm looking down at the gap. I want to be cutting right up in here on point. It's on camera. I forgot the camera's not there anymore. So I want to be cutting right up here in the point. But I have to see down. I can see that. So I leave that little gap above, not touching the wood. It's okay if that touches the wood. It's not going to do anything. Might leave a tool mark, but it's not going to be a catch. Very, very safe cut. But that's how I need to monitor it, is I got to be able to see down where is it coming over. I want to see what's coming over. And here you can see. So it's coming over right here in this area. All that's cleaned out. This is all the backwash. So you can see it's coming over right in there, and that's right where I need it. I wouldn't be able to see that without that gap there, man. He's a little better. So there's all kinds of curl hiding in here, man. All kinds of curl. So just for giggles, even though technically the shape really isn't done yet, I want to sand that and see what it looks like before we wrap up the broadcast. I got to see that. That looks like it's going to be another really pretty piece. And then later on, next time I turn this piece, I will have, let's use that. I will have the design figured out, and I'm going to see if I can. I might be able to get in there. I got to keep the tool rest and being able to move on the tool rest into consideration, but that might be just long enough to actually do this guy, and I won't have to bring out the whole hollowing system, which is my druthers on a piece this size. I'm always pressing with a tool, trying to learn, you teach myself different techniques, learn different techniques. Because I don't want to have to carry an entire toolbox everywhere I go. If I can just limit it to a couple of tools, that I can cover a wide range of cuts with, and that's my goal. I want to limit how many tools I got to have laying around the lathe. Or being like right here. It really helps with when traveling too. It's just less to carry. Yeah. And it also just falls right into, I figure, I really do. If I want to teach this stuff, and I do, I enjoy the hell out of it, then I need to know how to do it. I need to know how to use these tools. I need to know the ins and outs. So I'm not giving the wrong information to the people that I teach, and setting them up for success, hopefully shortening or narrowing or dropping or whatever the term is, the learning curve, making that smaller. And, saving people money. Oh, golly, there's so much figure in this guy. I can't wait till it gets buffed. Okay, I think I'm going with this. This may actually turn into, I don't know what this is going to turn into. This might turn into more of a sculpture type deal, but that's where I'm going to stop for this evening. How we do? Wow, well, we're right on the cusp of that anyway, so here we are. So, for those of you that were late to the show, thank you for joining, by the way. Looks like I need to turn that off. Put that away. I'm glad you found the channel. I hope that there's enough interest in here for you, enough entertainment that you come back. But my name is Dave. I'm a woodturner, and I started turning as therapy for PTSD. Grew up, I did. I grew up, I heard all the time, artist therapy, blah, blah, blah. And it just bounced, it might have bounced inside the head once or twice before it got out the other ear, but only once or twice. I didn't really pay attention because, but now I'm living it. Now I need it. Now I know it works. Art is therapy. It's amazing stuff. So, I talk about wood turning a lot to military veterans. Beekeeping is awesome therapy also. So I'm involved with Heroes to Hives. But I started this channel because I fell in love with teaching. And I want to become a better teacher. I'm always trying to improve my turning skills, my knowledge. So I want to be a better teacher, always looking to be a better demonstrator. And I'm in a win-win situation. The more I share the knowledge I've learned with the students that I have, the more it gets re-cemented into my own head, right? So it's a win-win. And then, of course, there's always the secret sauce that you're not going to hear about anywhere else. You're not going to hear it. You're only going to hear it on this channel. I'm the only one telling the truth. I'm the only one that's not going to lie to you and tell you that it's all magic and butterflies and shit, because it's not. It's practice. Practice is the secret sauce. That's what it takes. You need to start off with some good quality instruction to get the right tool handling skills learned, and then of course you'll have to adjust, and everybody's body is different. You'll have to adjust certain things to fit you, but once you have that, then you can start exploring. And I just think wood turning is actually, I know wood turning is a beautiful space where your focus is in the now. It's like you got to be right here. When you lose focus, things start going sideways. But at the same time, keeping that focus means you're stuck in the here and the now and not where you were or where you might want to be. You're stuck in the here and now, and that is the therapeutic aspect of it. You're in the now and it's experiencing now. So I highly recommend wood turning as therapy. Again, I started turning as therapy for PTSD. It works. Having said all that, I thank you again for joining me this evening. I will not be broadcasting tomorrow evening. I've got some other duties to attend to, but I will be back to my regular schedule next Tuesday and Wednesday, 8 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. Again, thank you for joining me. Thanks for supporting this channel. I hope you all stay friendly. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. And I hope to see you next Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here on Twitch Tuesday. Thanks, folks, and good night.